Welcome to Thrive and Serve. I'm your host, Colin Scotland, where together we explore how being the most authentic self powerfully amplifies our impact. Today we dive into another profound principle from the Kybalion, the principle of rhythm. This principle teaches us that there's a natural flow to everything in the universe, a time to rise and a time to fall. Let's explore how this rhythm plays out in our lives and businesses. Take a deep breath and let's begin. The Kybalion teaches us that everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. This rhythm is present in seasons, night and day, rise and fall of nations, and in our personal lives, our businesses. It's the dance of the cosmos, a rhythm we're all part of. It is one of the 7 principles outlined in the Kybalion. This principle essentially states that there is a natural ebb and flow to everything in the universe, a measurable movement back and forth, a pendulum-like motion between two poles or extremes. So there's a universal aspect to this principle in that it applies to all things, from the cycle and movement of the planets to the way that we conduct and live our very daily life. Everything experiences rhythmic motion. And just as a pendulum swings from left to right, all things experience a rhythmical swing between different states. So we see changes in seasons, our experiences, our emotions, and it can all be seen in the fluctuation, this state of movement, of change. And the principle suggests that life is composed of cycles and recurring patterns. There are patterns to these rhythms that exist throughout the universe. And we can see them, right? We can see them in economics, in product development, in biology, all throughout the whole of existence. We can see and observe patterns, the way that the moon has its phases, the movements of the tides, the oceans, everything has this rhythm. We can see it all around us. Understanding the principle of rhythm is crucial in both our personal development, but also our business strategy. Recognizing and adapting to natural rhythms lead to harmony, balance. Because the reality is we've got this dance going on and we have to find balance in the dance. The pendulum swings from left to the right. It swings left, it swings right. And in the moment when the pendulum is neither swinging up nor down, we have balance. What Lao Tzu referred to as the Tao, the way. Balance in that middle space. When the pendulum's neither up nor down. But the issue with this, and what we all feel and experience in our daily experience, is that the moment the pendulum reaches balance, it's gone again. It's up there. And now we're looking to get back to the balance down here. And the pendulum swings back, and then it's in balance. But then it's gone again. It's back up the other way. And it's constantly fluctuating, just as a pendulum would swing backwards and forwards. I'm waving my arms here like you can see what I'm doing, right? But essentially that's the nature of rhythm. And once we are aware of this, once we begin to accept the rhythm, to everything there is a time and a season. To everything there is a time and a season. And once we accept that rhythm, that pendulum swing, we can gently, lovingly accept what is and go with the flow. of that season, of whatever is right now. This is the most important thing, because acceptance, as Jung talks about it, is the key to living a rich, full life. And it doesn't mean that you accept abuse, that you accept negativity. It doesn't mean that. This is different. This is about the flow of things that cannot be changed, things that are outside of our control, outside of our influence. Stephen Covey, in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, talks about the circle of control and the circle of influence. And the circle of control is a small circle inside a larger circle of influence. In the circle of control, this is completely under our control. This is how we choose to show up, how we choose to do the work, how we choose to think and feel about a situation. That is in our control. Driving along in the car, heading back from my BJJ lesson on Tuesday, and didn't a learner pull in front of me. And we're in a 40-mile-an-hour road, and the learner's doing 16 on a 40, right? And that kind of thing just, in the words of Family Guy, that really grinds my gears. You know, it really gets me. And I have to catch myself before I just go, "Arr," and get angry and get mad. Now, that's a really silly thing, right? But in that moment, I have a choice, right? Viktor Frankl talks about the moment between stimulus and response, where we have that choice. In that choice lies our growth and our freedom. Exercising the choice is a completely different thing, especially when that learner comes in front of me in the car. It's like, whoa, Colin, stop right there. So as that learner was in front of me and I was heading back and I was trying to get back because I had a meeting and this and that and the other, and I caught myself that time. I don't always do this, but I caught myself, and I found myself gazing at the autumn leaves, the beautiful colours of the leaves, and seeing a power station that's not far from where I live, that's being demolished really soon. And I've seen this power station, these huge water cooling towers, throughout my life, right? They've been a part of the scenery of where I've lived for my whole life. I remember being a young boy, driving to my nana and granddad's in Liverpool for the weekend, and we would go past these cooling towers every Friday, and then come back every Sunday when we came home. You know, it was I don't know, part of the scenery. And so in that moment, because I caught myself and didn't get caught up in honking my horn trying to drive past this slow learner, I seen things that I wouldn't have seen. I recognized things that I wouldn't have recognized. And my experience in that drive was completely different. So if we rewind to the point of that learner coming in front of me, had I not made that choice, had I not been in control, that drive would have been very different. So rather than me getting home with a sense of peace, a sense of gratitude, and a sense of calm, and a sense of real gratefulness for the beauty that is around me, that I saw that day, like an awe and wonder at God, at the universe, at the creator of all things, I would have gotten home with a red face, like stressed, blood pressure high, angry. And that directly affects how I show up in the world. All of us are the same. We all have a choice. We all have that circle of control that we can change. We can decide how we react to a situation. Now, the bigger circle outside of that is our circle of influence. And these are things that we can influence, but we can't control. We can't change how other people show up. I can't change how that driver drives in front of me. And nor should I, because that's their business. That might have been their very first lesson. I'm guessing it was the way that they were driving, right? But that's irrelevant. That's their business and no business of mine. So me trying to be mad and angry that I can't control what they're doing is futile. Can you see that? Can you see how fighting against what is in that context is ridiculous? And yet we all do it over and over again. The principle of rhythm from the Kybalion teaches us that there is a flow to all things. And when we concern ourselves with the things that we can control, and yes, we can influence things wider than that, but we can't change them. We can't decide how another person is going to show up in our lives. We just can't. And so it gives us a sense of peace that we can just focus on what we can control the controllables, and allow the rest to be with gentle, loving acceptance. How cool is that? I just get to go through this world like being the best version of me, doing the best that I can, showing up in a way that is really intentional, and me just trying to be the best version of me in everything that's presented to me. Good, bad, indifferent. Wow, that feels so light. That feels easy to do. Feels really easy. And in our work, the same thing applies. We have times, seasons, rhythms to how we move forward. And I see this a lot, right? So people who come into my Thrive and Serve community or to a mastermind circle, and they'll be really berating themselves. Oh, I've not done this. I've not done that. I haven't done this yet. Haven't achieved that in my business. And in the next breath, they're explaining how they've been sick, like physically sick, unhealthy, or something's been happening in their life, in their personal life. And this is a great example of that rhythm, that flow of things. So if we are energetically very low because we're sick, then we can't expect ourselves. We can't fight the tide of that. We can't fight the rhythm of that. We have to go with the flow. Yes, we do everything in our circle of control to make ourselves better, to get healthy, to be well. Of course we do. But within that bounds and outside of that bounds, we can't change the result. We have to lovingly accept. And part of that loving acceptance is that I didn't do that yet. I haven't gotten to that. And what we need to do, and this is the battle, this is the daily struggle. We have to lose the guilt, lose the shame, the burden of guilt that we put on ourselves. I've not done this. I've not done that. I've not done that. None of that is relevant in this. All that's relevant is what's presented to you right now, how you react to it, just like me with that learner driver, and your response, the thing that you can control, the way that you show up. You can change that. You can choose to change that in every moment, in every circumstance that is put in front of you, good, bad, indifferent. And in the sense of rhythm, everything flows, everything changes. This too shall pass. When we are playing with these ideas and concepts, I find it quite liberating, honestly, because it's like, wow, everything is changing. Like we always look for an anchor. We always look for control. We're always reaching and grasping and just trying to claw our way at something to stay fixed. Like, oh, we need solid ground, don't we? Because otherwise we feel lost at sea and all over the place. We try and grab onto something. And really, truly, the liberation of understanding this nature of rhythm to everything a season, it's quite awe-inspiring to realize that the anchor, the solid ground, the thing that we need to hold on to is that everything changes. Everything changes. Take a deep breath with me now. Breathe in. And slowly breathe the breath out. So now, in that moment, you have changed. Your molecules, the blood flowing around your body, the oxygen, the air. The next breath in is completely different. You are completely different. I think it was Heraclitus that said a man can never step into the same river twice, because everything's flowing, everything's changing. The world around you is changing. We are now in a different physical location in time and space on this very planet to a few seconds ago when we took that breath in. So even though we feel like everything's the same, nothing is the same from one moment to the very next. Everything changes. And if we can truly comprehend that and accept it at our core, that becomes our anchor, the knowledge that everything changes. And so we don't cling then. Something happens that's deemed good, deemed bad, or whatever, then we don't cling to it. Oh, I want to hold on to this. I don't want to let it go. I don't want to let it go. Part of life is letting go. The biggest part of finding fulfillment and happiness in what we do is not holding on. I'm making this thing now. It needs to sell to so many people and I need to earn so much income from it and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Who would we be if we just let that go? I'm focused on what we can control in this moment right now. This very moment. How can you be a better version of you? How can you show up fully, intentionally, and on purpose to do your best work without holding on or attaching to a specific outcome? Sounds contradictory, doesn't it? It doesn't it? Because everything we've been programmed with is, this, that, and the other. We want to get this, we want to get that, we want to have a specific outcome and all of that. How do we translate that to the game of business? How do we do that? So here's the thing, right? In this mode of being, this different way of approaching the game of life, the game of business, then it becomes quite interesting. Quite interesting indeed, because we will still have, these milestones, these goals, this vision, this flag in the ground. We want to get to this, we want to get to that, and we want to get to that. That still exists. That's still a relevant and really valid and essential part of business. The difference here is that when we are recording a podcast, making a video, speaking to a client or a prospect or anybody in our lives, or driving the car home from a BJJ lesson, we are endeavoring, just really trying to be 100% here now. Oh, how beautiful is that? That literally just has the hairs standing up on the back of my neck, because that is a joyous life, is it not? To be in the thing that you're in 100%. Zero focus on the outcome. Wrong word. Focus on the outcome. Yes, absolutely. Attachment to the outcome. Zero. Emotional thoughts. Oh, it has to be like this. It has to be like that. Otherwise, I won't be this or I won't be that. That's what we have to let go. That's the dance of the rhythm of understanding and appreciating to everything. There is a time and a season under heaven. Aligning with the flow of the rhythm can be a great strength. Being in sync with the universe, understanding when to act, when to pause, without attachment to the outcome. This is the essence of what the great spiritual teachers talk about when they speak of enlightenment, of living a full, rich life, an enlightened existence. Mastering rhythm is not about fighting the natural cycles, but flowing with them. So I invite you to reflect on the rhythms in your life, your day, your business, and begin to see and observe where you are in that. Appreciate that you can't step into the same river twice. Appreciate that there is a finite amount of things that you can control, and focus on those things. How can you harmonize with this natural flow for success and fulfillment? Thank you for joining me on Thrive and Serve. I'm Colin Scotland. Remember, embracing our authentic voice isn't just powerful, it's transformative. It illuminates our path and the path of those around us. So go, let your unique light shine brightly and make a difference in the way that only you can.